On this episode of Car Rant, we register the Honda, start fixing it up, and you get my first impressions of this car as a driving experience. All this mud and stuff ruining my J's. Oh well. Hello. I don't understand why everything is like slightly hydrated. Like even my can of drink here has got water on the outside of it. We're gonna have to find this seal somewhere. This is gonna drive me nuts. Thanks, man. Oh wow, that was so in the whole. So, after 2.5 hours in the DMV, car now has plates temporarily anyway. Eventually we'll get some custom ones. I know it's kind of hard to see me right now, but we got the oil changed in the Honda. We got the spark plugs replaced. I spent some time with my dad because it's the time of year. I wanted to see my dad for a bit before he leaves. I also started replacing the speakers. The rear decks that are back here, went ahead and replaced those. It's very simple. It's just like 2 or 3 bolts that hold that plate on. You pop it up, pull it off, and then unbolt it, and it's very straightforward. Have the door off so I can try and fix my handle, because as you guys saw, that was horrible. And it's very weird entering my car from the opposite side. Uh-oh. There it goes. We saw a pop. And now we have a head unit in that bag there that we're gonna pop in there, and yeah, but first, my first impression of this car. We didn't get to do it in the last episode because it's kind of running a little long for my taste. And this one has been mostly me trying to register my car, getting locked out of my car, and then telling you stuff I did off camera. So I figured, let's take you guys for a ride. Let's let you guys see what it's like while I'm driving in this car. And the first thing I'm gonna say off the bat, as if I'm gonna treat this like a review, the first thing I'm gonna say off the bat is that this is not a quiet car. This is a very loud car. This thing, I mean, yeah, I get it. I don't have a muffler on it right now. So the noise is to be expected. But it's so good. It's so reminiscent of my younger years, and also when I had my own Honda. Let's start with this. Let's break it down. Things that need to happen to the car. Number one, first and foremost, I think, in my opinion, are brakes. I hit the brakes and they're old, they're rusted over, and they definitely have some soft spots in them. So the brakes are pulsing at me when I hit the brakes. The ABS isn't kicking on, but it's pulsing because it's just such an uneven surface, and if I'm trying to stop from a much higher speed, like say 60, it's kind of, no. My hands are actually starting to get a little bit sore the other night trying to stop on the highway because it was happening so often. Definitely a number 2 thing that needs to happen to this car is wheels and tires. There's no getting around it. These wheels are hideous for one thing, and the tires that are on it are old because they're dry rotting and relatively cheap. So with that in mind, I've already ordered some and they should be here hopefully by after Christmas. So I just got to live with these for a little bit, and the fact that my driver's side front tire is actually leaky. So the car like does this thing where it hops back and forth a little bit every so often. It is what it is. Definitely also gonna need an exhaust, because this exhaust obviously is missing a muffler. If you saw the last episode, it doesn't have one. That's part of the reason why it's loud, but it also has several exhaust leaks, more than likely due to rusting. It is an older car, it's to be expected, and this was daily driven in a very wet area, which is the coastal region of Maryland. The clutch is actually pretty good on the car. It's not all that bad for its age. I'm hoping, I believe the owner changed it recently, not too long ago, so it could still be in a break-in period, but it definitely is still biting. It definitely still puts it in gear. It definitely keeps it going. But I will, speaking of transmission parts, definitely be getting if I can get it a 6-speed, that would be nice. But definitely get a short shifter for the car, because it's gonna need one. We're definitely gonna get an extension, because even though it's like kind of nice how it's low, it's put down away from the wheel. I like something that's a little higher so I can just kind of quick shift a little bit. That's just a personal preference thing, nothing major. Definitely gonna buy some chassis reinforcement, because the car handles nice. I've driven it the past several days and I love driving this thing. It's so much fun. But I think some chassis bars would definitely help. Some strut tower braces, some undercarriage stuff. The very, very commonly seen Honda mod is to get the reinforced arms in the back, just to help with stability. Definitely getting some sway bars for the front and rear. It'll be good to bolster the suspension in this car. As far as coilovers go though, I'm liking the stock ride height for now. Eventually we'll get lower, but for right now, as it sits, it's all right. Because Honda suspension is pretty tight as is. If I were to put anything on here, I'd actually be looking at a set of A-Box, just to see what it's like, see how they feel. IBOC, A-Box, however you say it. They're a very reputable brand, and I would just love to see how those feel, you know, having been in Fortune's and Ishmael's car, and then K-Sports in mine, and then obviously the mistake of Tanes in in the Lexus. So yeah, I'm very curious to see what other brands have to offer as far as their performance and how they feel. The seats in this car are definitely gonna have to get changed though. As it sits, these things, they're just meant to be normal everyday commuter seats, which is kind of the point. The problem is that I tend to not drive like a commuter. I tend to drive more like a racer would, rather aggressively. And I like to put this type of car through corners very hard. The problem with that is that it means that I get thrown around a lot like this. And even down low, there's no bolstering for your legs. So you just kind of feel all over the place. Like it's comfortable as a passenger, I guess, but as a driver, I'd rather have something that's a little bit more stable. Practicality, by the way, of this car is immense. Like, I have the entire door panel for my driver's side door behind me, and I have no problems whatsoever, because I'm just like, yep, I'm up here, I'm driving nice, it's comfortable. Yes, the seating position is very close to the wheel. You can see my hand, where my hand is right now, that is the wheel that I'm touching. It's much more close together than, say, the Evo or even the Lexus. And I'm sitting in my same position I normally would in those cars. So that should tell you how much closer to the dash you are in this type of vehicle. I love it. I'm very glad I got this. It is, like I said, a little ridiculous. But it's a car that you can easily get behind. And just say, you know what? Let's try and build something cheap. That's kind of what I'm hoping I can do for you guys here on the channel with this type of car. it's so ridiculous. That's why I love it. Like, yep, we're gonna take 12 years to get into 4th gear. Which I'm still not in 4th, I'm actually in 3rd. Now I'm in 4th. It's so good. The handling on a car like this It's crazy to think that more people aren't interested in it, but I get why a lot of people aren't into it. The Honda reputation precedes itself, and you take that how you will. Racers will screw these cars up left, right, and center, and the track boys tend to make them into drag cars. But if you're willing to put in the work and make it into more of a, I don't want to say time attack car, but definitely something of that aura, it's worth it. They have great handling. They understeer because they're front wheel drive, but they'll slam a corner any day of the week. And that's why I wish more people would be interested in these. For any of you watching that are new to driving and you're trying to get a car, this is a great option because it's cheap, it's easy to maintain, and very good on gas and very reliable. I've always made the joke that at the end of the world there'll be 3 things left over: Twinkies, cockroaches, and Honda Civics, because they're notorious for just surviving. There are 1,000,000-mile Hondas just running around places. It's ridiculous. And on that note, guys, I hope this was a cool little insight for you all to see what's new and important about this car, kind of where we want to go. I didn't mention, but we do want to do an engine swap once this engine does finally decide to go, or I just get bored of it. I do want to try and find my hands on a H22A eventually for this, but otherwise I'd love to get my hands on a B16 or a B18C, just because it's more or less a plug-and-play setup. So anyways, if this interests you guys and you just found out about our channel, please consider subscribing. We would love it and appreciate it. If you've been here a while, thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, God bless you guys, and we'll see you next time. Peace!